Allison Ross, Ted Leitner on sports, Clark Anthony with weather. This is News 8.
A truck wreck and some toxic gas made for a potentially dangerous situation in Oceanside today. Two big trailer trucks collided on Interstate 5 near Oceanside Boulevard this morning. The Highway Patrol says a cement truck made an illegal lane change on southbound 5 and sideswiped a freight rig. The rig was carrying several canisters of hydrogen chloride. It flipped over. Luckily, none of the 900 pounds of gas escaped, but the driver of the freight truck was taken to Tri-City Hospital with minor injuries. The driver of the cement truck was not hurt. Allison Ross is back from a few days off. She has the latest on the situation in Iran tonight. Allison?
Mike, it is day number 44 in the hostage drama, and conflicting messages continue to come from Tehran. Iran's foreign minister said again today that some of the American hostages might be home for Christmas, but the so-called students inside the U.S. Embassy denied that claim. They say all 50 Americans will face trial as spies, despite the fact that the Shah has left this country for Panama. Meanwhile, a radio newsman from Los Angeles today delivered several huge sacks of mail to the U.S. Embassy, more than 3,000 Christmas letters from 30 states. The militants at the embassy gate accepted the sacks of mail. One Iranian promised that this first mail will be delivered to the hostages as long as it does not violate security. And it looks as if the Iranian crisis is still fueling the president's popularity. The latest national survey shows Mr. Carter's rating up by 21%. Now, more than 45 out of every 100 Americans questioned say they think the president is doing a good or an excellent job.
Governor Brown may have made one of the shortest campaign stops in political history here in San Diego today. 1 minute he was here, a few minutes later he was gone. News 8's Jesse Macias did get a moment to talk with the governor.
The governor arrived at Lindbergh Field right at the stroke of 9 o'clock, and within seconds he was inside the East Terminal. He told reporters the reason for his abbreviated stop in San Diego.
I just came by to announce the concert that we're going to have on Friday with the Eagles, Linda Ronstadt in Chicago. This is the beginning of a series of concerts, not only in California, but in other states, that will be a significant part of my fundraising effort for the presidency.
Even though the governor is still running third in the polls, he still feels he has a strong chance in 1980.
My support is building, and is building in opposition to both Carter and Kennedy, and I'm looking forward to the debate, which will air to 50 to 100 million people as being my real first opportunity to communicate to the American people, and then at that point we can analyze what the reactions are.
Brown says he expects to raise $250,000 with a series of rock concerts like the one scheduled at the Sports Arena December 21st. Then, as quickly as the governor arrived, he left for Sacramento. They stay in San Diego just 12 minutes. So in addition to all the headline performers who will be here December 21st, the governor said he may even show up and possibly give a major political speech. And if the mood hits him, he may even sing at the concert. Jesse Macias, News 8, the Sports Arena.
The governor finished a distant third in a straw poll of San Diego County Democrats. Those Democrats who were asked said they preferred Senator Edward Kennedy to President Carter, 45 to 32%. Brown got 15%. 8% of those polls said they had no preference.
Well, it is less than an hour before kickoff at San Diego Stadium. All weekend, people going to the game have been warned to get there early to avoid the traffic. Did they listen? Let's check in with News 8's Doug McAllister. He is with our live minicam for a traffic report. Doug?
Allison, I'm on the south rim of Mission Valley, and behind me to the north, across Interstate 8, is the stadium parking lot, which is just about as busy as it was expected to be on this particular evening. How busy is that? About as busy as an ant colony, as crowded as a sardine can. And it all started to happen around 3:30 this afternoon. That's when people started filling the stadium lot to about half capacity. It's built since then. And as you might expect, the roads around the stadium are crowded now, and they have been crowded since that time. Friars Road east and westbound is busy. We can still see the lights from this distance. Southbound Interstate 15 is crowded at the stadium exit. Mission Village Road southbound into the stadium, of course, is crowded. Interstate 8 itself is moving pretty well considering the time of day it is, rush hour. It is not all that crowded at all. The parking lot now is mostly full, though there are cars still streaming in. I don't know if we could call these latecomers. It's still an hour before game time, but the lot looks quite full from this point, and yet people are still streaming in. Again, the traffic situation on arterial roads around the stadium is just, well, it's rough. It's rough out there. And in any event, though a lot of people have parked their cars and are inside the stadium, a lot of them are still outside. And we can take a look at that with Hal Clement. Hal?
Doug, you're absolutely right. There may be a lot of people out there still on the surface roads, but there are a lot of people inside here. We're seated at a little tailgate party, one of about 200 going on here inside the stadium, I think. There's no question in everybody's mind. You can hear all the noise around me. The town is definitely fired up about this game. We were around San Diego today, and there weren't any big bonfires or massive pep rallies or anything like that. But we did find some very tangible evidences of Charger mania. Here's what we found.
It's not every day you see bankers working in T-shirts, but at the Bank of America branch in Spring Valley, all the employees were in their Charger shirts today. Well, not quite all of them. One poor lady named Barbara Stewart has the misfortune of being from Denver, and she wore, dare I say it, a Bronco T-shirt? Now, everybody in this bank is wearing a Charger Power T-shirt, except you're wearing a Denver T-shirt. Now, how come?
Because the Broncos are going to win.
On what do you base that outrageous assumption?
Because they're the best. They're number one.
You still think you'll have your job here when the day is over?
I hope so. I don't believe this.
It was Charger Power Day at the Maryland Avenue Elementary School in La Mesa. Most of the students and teachers were done up in blue and gold. This is Rayanne Thompson's 4th grade class, where they not only have their T-shirts, but an authentic Charger uniform on the wall, courtesy of Charger Equipment Manager Sid Brooks. Now, if you can't trust children, who can you trust, right? So I asked them about tonight's game. Who is going to win the game tonight?
Chargers!
Does Denver have a chance?
No!
Now, if you can't trust children, who can you trust, right? But this beat's working, I've got to say, being out in the lot for a tailgate party, sitting here with my buddies Fred and Newt. We're going to be back a little bit later in News 8. We'll have several other live reports, but for now, I think I'm going to eat my hot dog. So back to Mike and Allison.
Thank you, Al. A lot of celebrating out there. I hope they're celebrating that way after the game tonight.
Indeed.
That's what counts. Still ahead on this Monday night, the story of a Navy jet crash in Arizona today.
And we'll have some interesting news tonight for Insomniacs.
I'm Liz Purcell. If you think it costs more to fill up your tank at your local Chevron dealer, you're right. That story coming up on News 8.
One of the latest gift ideas for Christmas is a solar-powered beanie. I'm Jim Gordon. Later on News 8, I talk with the man who distributes them.
Next PM Magazine, you'll peek at what thousands of fanatical TV fans have been waiting 10 years for, the new Star Trek movie with many of the original stars. Will it be a bigger hit than Star Wars?
Then discover a little-known but physically demanding Olympic sport, flatwater canoeing, and watch a U.S. champion during practice. That's Monday at 7:30 on PM Magazine.
2 U.S. Navy jets were involved in fatal accidents in these past 24 hours. This morning in Yuma, Arizona, a Navy plane loaded with ammunition caught fire during takeoff. It crashed into an airport hangar, killing the owner. None of the crew was hurt. And last night, a jet from the aircraft carrier Nimitz crashed into some empty houses outside of Palermo, Sicily. One crew member was killed in that one. County officials and a San Diego citizens group could be headed for a showdown tomorrow. As News 8's Dave Cohen reports now, the controversy is over health conditions at some local grocery stores.
Yes, it all began 2 months ago when a citizens committee complained about filthy conditions and outdated and often spoiled food at 21 San Diego grocery stores. The Department of Health Services says it has inspected those stores and will issue a report to the County Board of Supervisors tomorrow. The department's Assistant Chief, Ray Redmond, will tell the board that all the stores were issued notices, mostly for minor state health code violations. All the stores have complied, all except Jiraco's. And it agreed, after legal action was threatened, to make certain repairs by January 7th. But the Committee for Clean Grocery Stores says that while things have improved somewhat, substandard conditions still exist. And the committee will counter the Health Department's report tomorrow with one of its own. Residents will show the supervisors meat and dairy products they claim already were outdated when purchased last Friday, some of which should have been caught by those recent health department inspections, if, say the residents, those inspections were made. Ray Redmond says he was short-handed last year and inspected stores only once every 8 months instead of the minimum 3 times a year. He's at full staff again and says inspections will be regular, but the Citizens Committee doesn't think 3 times a year is enough. And tomorrow they'll ask the board to order more frequent inspections. Dave Cohen, News 8.
The government tonight says there are now more low-tar than regular cigarettes on grocery shelves across the country. It says there are 100 different brands of low-tar cigarettes on the market, which is about 20% more than last year. Carlton King Size Filter is the hard pack, is said to have the lowest tar content of any other cigarette. The government says that great progress is also being made in reducing the amount of nicotine in American cigarettes. Some good news about taxes for a change tonight from the IRS. They say because of changes in the tax laws, the average American will actually pay less income tax this year. Well, so much for the good news. The IRS says it will have your tax form in the mail right after Christmas.
Allison, I guess that old line about death and taxes being inevitable is still true, and according to our Larry Himmel, something else is inevitable too. The 9-number zip code is on its way. And the way Larry sees it, people who can't remember 5-digit zip codes are in real trouble.
As we wait to see if George Orwell's dire predictions for 1984 come true, now we find out that for some of us, the year 1981 isn't going to be that hot either, because that's the year that the Postal Service wants to enlarge our zip codes. They claim to be doing it in the name of efficiency, which, by the way, is the same excuse they give us for raising the postal rates all too frequently. And if you peruse the pages of any thesaurus, under the word efficiency, you won't see the words U.S. Postal System listed. Still, the majority of Americans will absorb the 9-digit zip code, much like they already do their checking account numbers and their Social Security numbers. But for other more absent-minded people, the added numerology will represent a major hassle. You know what I mean if you're one of those folks who, when you're away from home and have to call your house, can't remember your own home phone number. Or if you're hesitant about taking dates to parties because you're terrible at remembering people's names. Or if you're constantly in the doghouse with friends or relatives because you forget anniversaries and birthdays. But for us space cases who use the words whatchamacallit and whoosy-whatsus to describe people and things, a 9-digit zip code just is another fact to show that the world is not getting better, just more complicated. For News 8, I'm What's-His-Face, at large, the main branch of the San Diego Post Office.
Good old What's-His-Face, huh?
Good old I didn't recognize What's-His-Face.
I didn't either. He's without hair and new haircut. And
no tie today?
Looks real different.
Good old What's-His-Face. Clark Anthony has the weather right after this.
You'll applaud the next Mike Douglas show.
I will.
Because the sensational Neil Sedaka is co-hosting with Taxi's Mary Lou Henner. You and John Travolta have known each other since Grease. You were in Grease together.
A little over 7 years.
Is that still on? And baseball superstar Willie Stargell. Will you stay in baseball?
That's a good question.
Plus the new sounds of Tanya Tucker.
Tuesday afternoon at 3, followed at 4:30 by MASH here on Channel 8.
Here it is, December 17th. We got a national television audience looking in. They're going to see people in shirt sleeves tonight, maybe light sweaters. There's going to be a stampede here in another month or so.
If you think property values are high today, wait until you think the freeway's crowded tonight, wait till next week.
I can understand it, too.
And if they could have just played a couple days later, we might have gotten at least a few clouds or something like that.
Something to mar it.
Just beautiful weather once again. Wasn't it a great weekend? Fantastic day today. Our cameras are out. Obviously, on a day like today, you head for the coast, don't you? If you have any chance at all. Before you head for the stadium, I suppose. These pictures were taken down along Sunset Cliffs in the Point Loma area of San Diego. Just gorgeous weather. It was a little bit chilly again last night in some of the inland areas, even some of the coastal sections. In fact, Del Mar got down to 30 for the overnight low last night, 27 at Poway. Temperatures mainly into the upper 70s for most everybody today. There's 81 degrees at Lindbergh Field. That was the old record, 1956. Today we added one more degree to it, so at least we could call it a new record. 82 is our official high. Overnight low had been 46 degrees, not especially chilly along the coast. Now, there are some changes in our weather pattern. Now, admittedly, not drastic changes all at once, but there are a couple of weather fronts approaching us. We have had for the past few days, past weeks, seems like forever, high pressure over here, low pressure here, offshore flow of air, warm air, clear skies. But we've got a couple of weather fronts. The first one is down to about this point. It will be bringing precipitation to northern California. For us, by Wednesday, it'll bring some cloudiness. Might maybe have a little precipitation. There's really none in the forecast, however. Take a look at the West Coast satellite picture. You'll see that we have clear skies still in southern California. That front, or actually a series of fronts all the way up through Washington and Oregon, bringing some precipitation up there right now. Northern Washington has gotten quite a bit of rain. It is freezing rain, at least in some of the mountains up there. We don't know anything new about snow, but with these weather fronts coming, if the door is open, as they say, the hope is that we could get some more snow in the mountains and some rain for us. Really, definitely we could use it by now. Warmer temperatures coming over the northern part of the Rockies. They've been so chilly recently, but up into the 50s today. Gale warnings along some of the northern Rocky slopes up there. Most of this section of the country with no precipitation, cool temperatures, some snow falling back here in the New England area. Really not too much to report there, but also some strong winds, gale force warnings along the middle Atlantic coast as well. Here's our sunset picture this evening. Pat LeClaire sent this in. I guess it's a he or she, lives in San Diego, but took this in Pakistan. Our forecast will call for it to be clear tomorrow, but then by Wednesday we'll have an increase in cloudiness, cooler days, warmer nights here, the temperature extremes we can expect. Not too much change in the next couple of days, but as we get a cloud cover, it'll help keep things a little bit warmer at night, and of course that'll also cool things off a little bit during the day. So it's not a major change at this point, but it might be the signal of something to come.
82 degrees in mid-December. I still can't believe it. Considering the tickets he got me for this game tonight, I shouldn't talk to him at all, but it's my professional duty. I have to introduce him.
Wait. I got you the same tickets I got you for the Pittsburgh game.
50-yard line, right on those.
In the newsroom.
That's right.
A newsman should be in the newsroom, right? I just try to keep him in his place. What do you want to talk about? Oh, the Denver game? I actually had a person. This person must live in a time capsule. I was at a shopping center yesterday, and this guy comes up to me and asks me in all seriousness, who the Chargers playing tomorrow night? Is this man putting me on? Denver, sir. Denver. This is Denver. Denver that beat them the last time they played, you recall, when Fauci had passed for 300 plus. But a couple of interceptions, and they lose by the count of 7-zip. Well, they're playing them again, sir. It's in Mission Valley. You make a left on Friars Road, then you make the right. They got orange uniforms, and they'll be in town to play the Chargers tonight, okay? A little bit later, we'll have Dan Fouts describing who you can look for in that sort of a football X's and O's kind of thing. We will talk with the former San Diego State player who now plays for Denver, and you will see the Clipper highlights. There are some other things that are happening besides the Chargers. Nobody cares about them, of course, but we have to deal with them anyway. In addition, Clemente, Hal is down at the stadium, who will continue his reports throughout the course of the night. Don't light any matches around the people who are tailgating. You know that to be true.
As a matter of fact, there are people that are drinking things stronger than Orange Crush out here tonight at the tailgate party, strangely enough. You know, as we drove in tonight in our News 8 van, people started booing, and I thought we had done something wrong. Turns out there were 3 people in Denver T-shirts next to our van. We got away from them in a hurry, and they're all gone now.
I thought they might have thought that I was in there. I thought for sure that's what you were going to... I thought for sure that's what you were going to say. We'll come back to you later, Hal, and I'll see you down there shortly.
Okay.
All right. Hal Clement with one of our live mini-cams at the stadium. I will join him. We will have, of course, highlights, the post-game interviews, hopefully in the winner's locker room, being the right winner's locker room and all that other stuff. Sir, they're playing Denver. Starts at 6. We'll have highlights at 11. Who are they playing tomorrow night?
Do those people in the parking lot always make it into the game? Because I've seen some, they're stacked up there right before the game.
Not usually for the kickoff. You're right. They usually stay out there totally snockered. Yeah. And then they have to find someone to point them in which direction the stadium is. They don't know.
I've seen some carried in on different occasions. We're going to come back with more news right after this, so please stay with us.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers.
City crews had their hands full today working on several water main breaks throughout the city. Crews say this is just another in a series of breaks that have occurred over the past few weeks in Pacific Beach. Crews worked most of the day on a break at Oliver and Olney streets. Water has been coming up through the street since Saturday. Water pressure has been low throughout that neighborhood, but crews say they should have the break fixed by later on tonight. Crews were also busy today at Torrey Pines and Ivanhoe in La Jolla. A new activist group in San Diego tonight, a group organized to protect the rights of local police officers. The Law Enforcement Civil Liberties Unit will be a branch of the San Diego Police Officers Association. The president of the new unit tells us the group is needed because nobody really cares about police in their daily work. Allison?
And San Diego's Paramedic program, Mike, has run into some money problems after just 10 months in business. City officials say the privately operated medevac service is costing about 15% over budget, even though fewer people are using it than had been expected. One of the big problems, apparently, nearly half of those who have been helped by the paramedics are not paying the $102 transport fee. And unless the situation changes pretty soon, the city council may be asked to increase the fee or give medevac a larger subsidy from the taxpayers next year. If you are one of the estimated 50 million Americans who has trouble sleeping at night, help may be on the way. The Surgeon General today announced a new 3-year program aimed at educating both doctors and the public about sleeping disorders and how to treat them. The program is also scheduled to look at the pros and cons of sleeping pills.
It remains one of the mystery diseases of modern medicine. No known cause, no known cure, and still no way even to determine who might get it. And yet multiple sclerosis is the most common disease of the central nervous system among young Americans today. More in tonight's House Call with Dr. Jeff Sandler.
Well, the first thing I noticed was in my left leg, I had some numbness. And then it transferred over to the right side, and I couldn't pick my foot up off the ground.
That was 5.5 years ago. The first signs of what was later diagnosed as multiple sclerosis. Steve Devlin is one of perhaps 500,000 Americans suffering from MS. He's only 23, but the disease has already progressed to where he has great difficulty getting around without the help of this motorized cart.
Well, at first I was going into police science, and so I'd scratched that right off the top. But then I had electronics that I wanted to go into, and it hasn't interfered with that at all.
Multiple sclerosis is a neurologic disease attacking the central nervous system, those areas responsible for controlling such things as walking and talking. Nerve fibers are normally coated with a material called myelin, but when MS hits, patches of that myelin are destroyed and impulses from the brain have trouble getting past those affected areas.
MS may start as temporary blurring of vision or double vision or perhaps weakness or numbness of an arm or leg. We don't know the exact nature of what causes MS. We do have some clues. We feel that there are some predisposing genetic factors, and by that there's probably a familial tendency or genetic tendency, and that there seems to be something in the environment, perhaps a virus, which may trigger off this disease.
Multiple sclerosis is not a mental illness, nor is it a contagious disease. It is usually progressive. That is, there are a series of attacks, possibly over several years, each causing further disability. Despite how debilitating the disease appears, there is some reason for optimism. For one thing, the lifespan of most MS patients is near normal, and there are medications available which can treat most of the symptoms. In fact, the majority of MS patients lead active lives, working and taking care of their own daily needs. For News 8's House Call, this is Dr. Jeff Sandler at University Hospital.
Saw in 60 Minutes last night there is a doctor down in Florida, I believe, who has been using snake venom to treat MS.
For the symptoms.
Yes, and he claims a fairly good degree of success, although the medical establishment has not yet accepted that. We're going to have more news right after this.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers.
You can buy Fashion Valley gift certificates Monday through Saturday, 11 till 6, and Sunday, 11 till 5, under the giant snowflakes at Fashion Valley.
I'm
not ready.
Okay, well, I'll do this. Tuesday on Son of San Diego, we're going to be talking about refurbishing your home and refurbishing your furniture. And consumer information with Cindy Ritter. We'll also talk about Christmas music with the Harbor Light Singers. Are you ready? You're not ready.
No, I'm not ready.
You won't be ready tomorrow either.
This one's longer than that one.
No.
We'll see it Tuesday.
Rhodesian guerrilla leaders signed an agreement today that will supposedly end the heated political and racial conflict in that country. These problems have grown increasingly more violent, but this new settlement calls for an immediate ceasefire. Another big transit strike has crippled a major city tonight in Chicago. Train and bus workers walked off their jobs this morning. That left more than 1 million commuters with only their cars to get to and from work, and that's a big problem because the drivers who deliver gasoline in Chicago are also out on strike. The OPEC nations opened their annual meeting in Caracas, Venezuela today. They're trying to work out some sort of unanimous agreement on oil prices. 2 of the nations raised their prices last night. 4 of the others raised theirs last week.
One of the biggest oil companies in this country, Standard Oil of California, or Chevron, says it cannot keep up with those OPEC price hikes anymore. So it has raised the price of its gasoline. News 8's Liz Purcell has more on the effects here locally.
Last week, this Standard station in Kearney Mesa was selling regular at $99.5. Then came Saturday and an order from Chevron to boost prices at the pump by 6 cents. Randy Randazzo, who operates the station, says the company didn't give him any reason for the hike. Publicly, though, Chevron blames it on increases in crude oil prices last week by Saudi Arabia. And as for the possibility of more increases to come, Randazzo is ready for anything.
I think next month gasoline supplies will get tighter, and I think the price will probably go higher.
How much? Any guesses?
No guesses. I can't even guess. It all depends, as the time goes by and the supplies get tighter, I imagine the prices will go up higher. 10 cents a gallon? Who knows?
Before the weekend increase, Chevron had some of the lower prices in town. The company had dropped figures at the pump by 3 cents a gallon in October. This weekend's price hike put Standard back in competition with everyone else. Liz Purcell, News 8, Kearney Mesa.
There had been warnings about possible gasoline shortages over the holiday, but now the California Automobile Association has revised that warning a bit. It says tonight that there will be plenty of gasoline to go around this Christmas, but you guessed it, it's going to cost you a lot, about 50% more than it cost you last Christmas. Even the most popular gifts this year require an energy source of one kind or another. Most of them use batteries or electricity. But tonight, News 8's Jim Gordon shows us some toys that get their juice from the sun.
This is the Solar Power Beanie Brigade, and that's why all these people are smiling. At the Kearney Mesa plant, they distribute these beanies, and they also make solar music boxes. These are also light-powered music boxes. If you don't have sunlight, almost any light bulb will do. The closer you get, and the brighter the light, the stronger the music plays, and plays, and plays. How does it work? Julian Conway is president of the company that distributes the boxes.
Light striking the various segments of the cell causes a migration of electrons.
That's just the first part of a chain reaction which sets up a difference in voltage, which in turn creates current. The cell gets about half a volt and up to half an amp. How long will it last?
Indefinite. The life of the cell could be 50 years. And the life of this box could be 10, 20 years.
There are more than 20 song titles in the Calcon music boxes. Played all together, they sound sort of like this. But the one you want to hear at this time of the year is this song. Jim Gordon, News 8, Kearney Mesa.
We hope you've gotten the idea by now that this entire city is psyched up for tonight's Charger-Bronco game, and the fact that it's Monday Night Football makes it that much more exciting. That means you know who is in town.
Hello again, everyone. San Diego Stadium, San Diego, California. Big Monday Night Football game, Chargers-Bronco. Well, we asked Howard to come down, but he's busy up in the press box with Dan DeRue and Faultless Frank, and he sent his regrets, said he couldn't join us here, but I said I'd save him a bologna sandwich from the tailgate party, and maybe he'll drop by after the game and have some of our chocolate chip cookies and ketchup and cheap wine. Okay, most of the people are inside the stadium by now. However, the loyal tailgaters are still hanging around because tailgating, as you know, is a serious business. We have here obviously a Charger fan because she has a Crush the Orange t-shirt. Ellie, everyone says that you're the spokesperson for this group. Who is going to win tonight?
Oh, the Chargers.
Why did I know you'd say that?
We have been Charger fans since 1968 and have waited for this to happen. We're going to be #1. Super Bowl, here we come.
Are you going to be tailgating in Pasadena during the Super Bowl?
Surely.
Am I invited?
Oh, we would love to have you, Hal.
Good. At least I got a free invitation. Now we would like to be, in the interest of a balanced broadcast, these gentlemen have been kind enough to join us here. You might be able to tell by this.
Bronco, Release the serve!
You might be able to tell by the color of his shirt and the Colorado Kool-Aid in his hand, this man happens to be from Denver. Your name is Ted, is that correct?
Yes, it is, Ted Ply.
Obviously, you're a Bronco fan if you flew here all the way from Colorado.
Of course. Yes, most certainly a Bronco fan.
Now I'm going to ask you who is going to win tonight.
Well, without a doubt, we will be defeating the Chargers, not only this evening, but also we meet them in January, after they have gone through Pittsburgh, etc.
Now, you understand the Chargers and Broncos cannot meet in the Super Bowl. They're from different conferences.
I know, but they can meet for the AFC Championship, which is, in fact, in January the 6th, I believe.
I understand. What are you guys going to do for an offense?
Well, we have one heck of a offensive line. In fact, we have one of your local fellas here. His name is Claudia Miner for tackle. And if I recall, the last time we met, False did real great between the 20s, but I don't think they scored these points, did they?
Well, of course, that was in Colorado, you have to understand, Ted. Thanks a lot for dropping by, and I hope that you don't have to drown your sorrows in too much of that stuff after the game tonight.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right. Nice. Good sport for dropping by. Thank you very much. That was Ted from Denver dropping by to chat with us a little bit. People, as you can tell, are pretty excited about the game tonight. I have to admit, I'm one of them, and not too long from now, we're going to be going inside. The parking lot is full of cars and not a heck of a lot of people. So we're going to be going inside not too long from now. And Ted will be back in a couple of minutes with the regular sports.
San Diego Superchargers. San Diego
It's tic-tac-toe with congenial quizmaster Wink Martindale. The game you played as a youngster has grown up. So have the people who play it. High-spirited contestants fight for cash and prizes in TV's Big Money Game Show. When the sky's the limit, it takes knowledge, luck, and nerves of steel to come up a winner. But when a contestant's got all three, the jackpot is staggering. For nail-biting thrills, see Tic-Tac-Toe.
Watch Tic-Tac-Toe weeknights at 6:30 right here on Channel 8.
In your honor, we decorated your office here.
Thank you.
That?
That's very nice.
Christmas cheer here.
I ask only one thing.
What's that?
Been playing that Charger song now for how many times? Don't play it during my show. I mean, it's a good song and all, and I'm really up for the game and all that stuff.
You're not into disco, even Charger disco, huh?
All right. No music during my show. That's in my contract. There'll be no music. I'm sorry. We'll play that song several times after my particular segment. Game tonight. Hear about it? The Chargers and the Denver Broncos. Let me get down to the basics here. With all the hoopla, they have to win this. They're already in the playoffs, so it's not for that. It's just if they win it, they are the division champions. They will not have to play a wild card type of game next week. They'll be off for a couple of weeks and then play on the 28th or 29th it is. So that's what it's for. It's for that and the pleasure of beating the devil out of Denver, which is no small consolation. Dan Fouts, who of course has been with us all season, will be here showing you exactly who you can look for, the big stars of Denver.
Really a fine year. Here he hits, I believe, Haven Moses, who has about 6 or 7 touchdown receptions this year. Jensen going over for a touchdown. And it looked like they were unbeatable in that game, but Seattle came back and beat them 28-23. Here's Buffalo. Moses again the week before against Buffalo. Everybody here in San Diego State is well aware of Haven Moses. He's a great player and has had a fine career with the Broncos after a great career at San Diego State.
So, Craig Morton, I don't think has the offense to beat this club. I said this Friday, so I'll say it again, not to be a homer like everybody else is this week and tonight, but I honestly think the Chargers will win, and I said Friday 28-10, and I'll stick by that. I picked them to lose to Pittsburgh. I was wrong, and I honestly think they'll beat Denver. By the way, speaking of the Denver players and ex-San Diego Staters, not only is Haven Moses in town to play with them, but also Claudia Miner, the offensive tackle who played at State, who Hal Clement talked with about the fact that Denver has already beaten San Diego once this year, and that sort of stuff.
I don't think a person can dwell on a defeat or a victory no longer than 2 days or so, because in the NFL, every week is more important than the last.
You're not going to take it easy on folks out here because you're from San Diego?
I'm here for business.
Serious stuff. That's Claudia Miner. Enough of the game. We will, of course, have highlights, post-game interviews, etc. at 11 o'clock tonight. Did you see the Dallas game Sunday? Was that an incredible victory? That much time left. They're down by 6. Here is Staubach ducking the sack that might have ended the game and then getting them down here with just really incredible football. Preston Pearson, who hasn't played that much all year long, with a couple of great catches. Another one here to get him down first and goal at the 8-yard line in the final minute, and then they go to Tony Hill for the touchdown. They beat Washington, keep Washington out of the playoffs, and Dallas with a great fourth quarter to get in there. The Clipper game. It's not all football today. I mean, the Clippers played well last night. Lloyd Free tied his career high with 49. 49 points. There wasn't a whole lot of points left for anybody else, but they did have. Freeman Williams, number 20, got that many. He got 20. This one, Nader had 22. There is Brian Taylor with the 2 of his 20. Nader, again, who has really done a great job the last few times. 133-126 is the final score as the Clippers beating Detroit yesterday and don't play tonight. They're off until tomorrow. They're back on the road. Today's Monday. That's what I was going to talk about. We have our hockey for the week. It's 15 seconds long. It's good stuff. It's from Chicago, Detroit yesterday. Some good, clean, straight hockey in the Chicago victory over Detroit. Here it is. Okay? This ought to keep the hockey fans off my back, at least for the win. I mean, the only reason we're not giving a lot of hockey scores is because there's no hockey team here, so we just haven't been given the National Hockey League scores. Couple of final items, he said. Norm Ellenberger has been fired at New Mexico because of that big scandal they're involved in. He had been suspended initially. They had some players who got credit for courses they never showed up for, which I'm sure if you checked at a lot of other universities in the country goes on all the time, but they fired Ellenberger today. The new poll out for college basketball has Duke number 1, Indiana has fallen down to number 5, and BYU of the Western Athletic Conference is still 18th, and Homer Rice was fired as the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, which is not a big surprise.
I wish you wouldn't have picked the Chargers to win this game tonight.
It is the kiss of death in it, but I really think they're good enough. They're really playing great ball. They should win.
But I was really feeling good about their chances till you did that.
I know. Let's play the record and the music a little bit later. And
yeah, a little more of that record.
Okay.
Some happy homecomings for Navy families here in San Diego, and that's up next.
Hi, I'm Jack Barry, and this is the kind of fun and excitement you'll see on The Joker's Wild right here on this station. You'll enjoy the thrills of a one-armed bandit, along with the excitement and suspense of a big money quiz show. And it's all brought to you every Monday through Friday right here on this station. Remember now, that's The Joker's Wild. Tune in. You'll enjoy it. Join us, won't you?
2 big Navy ships returned to San Diego today after being away on long tours of duty. One of these ships is the USS Lang. The other is the USS Chicago, which you see here. And of course, there was the familiar welcome home scene. USA photographer Tom Zizzi captured some of it on videotape. So there's all kinds of celebration in San Diego tonight. You know, because of all the red tape involved, not everybody who wants to adopt a baby in this country is able to. So many couples go to other countries to adopt these days. Tonight, News 8's Liz Purcell talks with one local couple who just came back from South America with a new baby.
Colombia is known for its coffee, gold, and emeralds. But among some Americans, it's becoming known for its children, its abandoned children who are available for adoption by American citizens. Andy was deserted by his mother when he was a baby. So was Maria. But both have found a happy home in San Diego with 2 people who might never have been able to adopt any children in the United States. When Isabella North found she couldn't have children, she and her husband David tried to adopt a child. It would have taken years, if at all. Then Isabella found out about an orphanage in Bogota, Colombia.
So you turned to Colombia because of the frustration, perhaps, here?
There was total frustration, plus at the time my husband had 2 children from his prior marriage, and even though we were childless, some of the agencies felt that they'd prefer to give to a completely childless couple than to one that might have children on one side of the marriage.
The Norths brought Andy back to the United States when he was 8 years old. He's now 3.5. Maria is the newest member of the family, in the country only a matter of days. She'll be 8 weeks old Christmas Day.
After a year and a half of waiting for Maria, we couldn't be any more complete. What we need now is Santa to come down the chimney.
We don't have no chimney.
That's true, we don't have a chimney.
Many people who don't qualify to adopt children here in the United States do meet Colombian guidelines, including single parents. There are many poor and abandoned children in Colombia, and more Americans are adopting them. Mike?
How much did this whole process cost?
It cost the Norths approximately $3,000, and that is including the traveling expenses.
Thank you, Liz. A new survey taken by McCall's Magazine reveals that most American women feel their homes and families are more important than their sex lives. 20,000 women were questioned about it. Most said they were unhappy about their sex lives, but apparently they aren't losing any sleep over it.
Maybe that's their problem. You know, nobody really knows what marijuana can do to a person over a long period of time, and at least one researcher, Dr. Gabriel Nahas of New York's Columbia University, thinks it'll be at least 20 to 30 years before long-term effects of marijuana are known. He does say tonight, however, that indications are that pot can affect the lungs, reproductive systems, and the brain. Our people in the news tonight include character actor Bern Hoffman. The 66-year-old Hoffman died Saturday in Los Angeles. He worked in 900 film and television productions and is best known for his role as Earthquake Magoon in Little Abner. And Paramount Pictures tonight says the movie Star Trek has grossed a record first-week box office total of more than $17 million. Studio officials say that is the biggest opening week earnings in movie history. Star Trek opened at 800 theaters in the United States and Canada earlier this month. There is a South Carolina boy who really knows how to get his message across. He's about to leave on his own personal peace mission to Egypt, and he may be able to teach some of the world's diplomats a lesson. Martha Teichner reports.
Band was Sam Brown's last class on Thursday. He had other things to do, such as ride to the Easley, South Carolina City Hall in a police car for a party in his honor.
December 13th, 1979 is proclaimed as Sam Brown Day.
What did 12-year-old Sam Brown do? He wrote a letter to Anwar Sadat. Sam wrote that he admired the Egyptian president's courage and his peacemaking. Sam said he wanted to visit Egypt, but knew he could never afford it. In August, Sadat wrote back and invited the boy to come as his guest.
What would be the best thing in the whole world that could happen over there in Egypt for you?
Snowed in, let me stay a little bit longer.
People in Easley gave Sam new clothes and a suitcase. He has packed and unpacked 3 or 4 times. What happens when he gets back? Sam thinks he'll write a letter to Menachem Begin. Martha Teichner, CBS News, Easley, South Carolina.
Sounds like Sam has a racket going.
It does.
We're going to have more news in Macchio, San Diego right after this.
Cousins, because here comes that friendly family who insists on bringing you some excitement. There's Bo and Luke Duke, Daisy, Uncle Jesse, Crazy Cooter, and those 2 limp-lipped lawless leaders, Sheriff Roscoe and Boss Hogg. So bust up some boredom and grab a real good time with the Dukes of Hazzard.
Have some good old fun with the Dukes of Hazzard, Friday night at 9 on Channel 8.
Briefly, a man opened fire on his estranged wife, her mother, and her lawyer today in a Nevada City courthouse, then shot himself in the head. The 4 are all listed in critical condition tonight. The shooting took place during recess in a divorce case. And San Diego drug agents made the biggest amphetamine bust ever in the county over the weekend. They seized $2 million worth of the pills, along with some guns in houses in La Jolla and Ramona. Agents say the bust could break up a major drug ring in the Southwest. Now, we have a live report from Hal Clement at the stadium with a look at what's going on just before the big game. Hal?
Allison, I'm so lonely. All my friends are gone. There's no one here. Everyone's inside, except a fella just handed me this number 1, which you can see is in Charger colors. Obviously, no doubt what he had in mind. Everybody is inside now. We are just, about 5 minutes away from kickoff. Chargers and Broncos. The winner wins the AFC Western Division title. If the Chargers win, all their playoff games are at home. What's my prediction? I got to go along with Leitner on this one. I don't know if it's quite as high. I'll say it's about 24-7 Chargers. And all that can be said has been said. It is time to play ball, as they say in the business. Allison?
Do I look like Hal? Thank you, Hal. You should be shivering out there. It ought to be temperatures in the 60s for some reason or other. By tomorrow, we'll have quite a bit of sunshine, then an increase in cloudiness. By Wednesday, we'll have cooler daytime temperatures, but with that cloud cover, somewhat warmer nighttime temperatures. How about to Mike now?
That's our news for now. The CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite is next. And now from all of us on the News 8 team, have a nice night. We'll see you back here after the Chargers beat the Broncos at 11 o'clock.
You betcha. Good night.
The KFMB stations have created a Good Citizen Award to honor San Diegans who perform meritorious acts. Today's award is presented by Harold Keene, Editorial Director.
Most of our Good Citizen Awards are to those who have endangered themselves to help others. Tonight's deals with a less spectacular type episode. It concerns a 10-year-old boy, Robert Crane, Jr. of South San Diego. While riding his bike recently, he spotted a billfold near the curb. It was stuffed with $348 in cash. The only identification inside was a driver's license. Instead of listening to his friends who urged him to keep the money, he took the wallet home and insisted to his father that it be returned. After some difficulty, they located the owner in Imperial Beach, who at that point didn't even know that he had lost the billfold. Robert was rewarded with a $20 bill. Now, this was a small incident, but worth noting in that it deals with honesty, a kind of heroism in itself. And for that, the KFMB stations present their Good Citizen Award to 10-year-old Robert Crane, Jr. for practical application of a basic virtue.
The KFMB stations request your nomination for a Good Citizen Award.
On Dallas, the oil-rich Ewing clan in constant conflict, brother against brother.
Now just butt out of it, you hear me? Leave him alone. Not on your lap, boy. Hey, stop!
A struggle for power.
Money and force seems to be what you Ewings understand the best.
A struggle for love.
You're my wife.
Yeah, but not the kind of wife that I want to be.
Action and drama, each week on Dallas.
Watch the saga of the Ewing family on Dallas, Friday night at 10 here on Channel 8.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm tuning up my car.
Tuning up your car? Does it work when you do it like that?
Listen, I'm gonna get better gas mileage.
Yeah?
And no SMOG.
SMOG, does that stand for brick?
Smog.
Oh, smog. You mean dirty air, smog from the car. Oh. San Diego is tuning up. We care about clean air.
A message from the San Diego Pollution Control District.
Channel 8 San Diego, an equal opportunity employer.
This is the Western edition of the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite in New York and Terry Drinkwater in Los Angeles.
Good evening. On this 44th day of the Iran crisis, the man who holds the key to its end, Ayatollah Khomeini, indicated that it will not be over soon. Khomeini, in a sharp break with his foreign minister, sided with the militants holding the U.S. embassy and said none of the 50 American hostages would be released before they stand trial for espionage. A militant spokesman said the trial date should be set by Khomeini and the nation. What kind of trial it might be was indicated by Tehran's chief Islamic judge.